back from a little bit of an unscheduled little break in recording for a minute. Not entirely sure what happened, but one day I woke up and my back was about to kill me. I don't know if I pulled a muscle. I don't know if I twisted it wrong. I don't know what happened, but I was in some pain for a few days there. Luckily, one trip back to my friendly neighborhood chiropractor, and I am not completely better, but I'm a lot better than I was. So, slowly moving into the right direction. But before we get too deep into this, I will go ahead and do our viewer shout out for today. So our viewer shout out comes from Jess, who says, "Just found your channel and I'm so glad I have, LOL. You deserve so many more subscribers, girl." Oh, thank you, Jess. That means a lot to me. And remember, I will be doing a viewer shout out in every video, so if you want to see your name pop up on this screen, just make sure you leave a comment somewhere down below, and hey, it might be you. But in today's speed build, I have decided to build a werewolf high school because I kind of just don't feel like werewolves really got the glory they deserved. I mean, at this point, it's kind of the best pack that's come out so far this year. And that's not to say High School Years is a bad pack. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but let's face it, there were some issues upon its release. I'm just saying. Whereas the werewolf pack just smoothly came on out without any problems. So since the lot in Copperdale is the only lot that can actually be a high school, that's where I kind of had to build this at. Oh, and side note, when you are uploading to the gallery, you can't upload it as a high school either. You have to upload it as generic, which, okay. But anyway, just because I'm building this in Copperdale, I wanted to still kind of keep a Moonwood Mill kind of rundown feeling with it. So I used a lot of the debug items in the werewolf pack to kind of give the old abandoned factory vibes to it. And then that also kind of helped ease up the space because a 64 by 64 lot is a big lot to build on. Like, holy cow, that is a lot of place to build. So much smaller high school, I should say. Very grungy aesthetic, very kind of werewolfy, trashed kind of aesthetic to it. But it's a good high school. I think it would function really well. Definitely has a very rundown feel to it. I think my proudest moment in this build comes at the end though, when I use the van that we got the bar with in the Werewolf High School pack to use as the lunch area. Those two items together just perfect. I feel weird because I never really know what to say during speed builds, which is why I don't really post them a whole lot. Like, there are some people who, don't get me wrong, they are very talented and they can just get on the microphone and go and talk and talk and talk and talk. And I'm just not one of those. I kind of feel like I'm talking to an empty mic and I don't really know what to talk about. But this is the build. Nice little werewolfy high school build. My love for trashy aesthetics kind of came back in this build, as you can tell. I put some trash in there a little bit. I also, and I did this, I thought it would be really funny. I used the newspaper from Cats and Dogs that has like, animal pee on it. I put that in random places around the high school because, I mean, let's face it, our werewolves just stop and pee wherever the heck they want in this. So, I mean, I felt it would make sense to have some newspaper to clean up some of these puddles that are no doubt going to be running around this high school. I'm really kind of excited to do my werewolf let's play with the high school. I don't think I'm gonna go too much longer with werewolves because we have so much going on in our high school let's play, but I do want to see werewolves go to high school. So there'll be one final episode of my werewolf let's play where we're just going to high school. I just want to see what it's like, and I'll be using this high school, of course. I mean, can you imagine? We have triplets in our werewolf let's play. Can you imagine 3 little triplet werewolf teenagers running around causing all the havoc they can in this high school? Oh, that would be great. But that's not to say we don't have a lot of things going on in our high school let's play coming up, because oh no, we do. So we're doing a rotational gameplay through our high school years let's play, and so far we have done Judith Ward and the Pleasant twins because those are the ones that everyone in our community tab really seemed to want to see to play with. But next up we have a lot of different people too. We have Nancy Landgrab, who is going to be kind of a mean girl cheerleader type person. So very kind of stuck up, very almost kind of school bully, because honestly that's what I see Nancy Landgrab being in high school. But it will be with a twist. She will have her secret romance with Joffrey start to bloom here. Is it Joffrey or Jeffrey? I don't know. I've always used them interchangeably. I'm not sure which one it actually is. Anyway, she'll be developing a secret romance with him that, is kept kind of under the radar. They can't, she can't let anyone know she's dating a nerd. Of course not. After that, we have Don Lothario coming up, and this is before Don Lothario was a womanizer and a player like we all know and love. This is the story of how how he became this player that we know. And his story's gonna hurt your heart a little bit. I'm not joking. His story's gonna be a little bit of a tearjerker. May garner a little sympathy for Don Lothario. Who knows? Then, of course, we have Liberty Lee, who is going to be the computer geek. Summer has just moved to town, and while Liberty and Travis are best friends, they both develop a crush on Summer. So it definitely causes a little bit of drama there. And then, of course, we start back again with Judy, and we just go round and round and round. We go through everyone's stories. I really kind of like doing it this way because doing this will let us play with all different facets of this high school pack. We get the influencer, we get the jock, we get the cheerleader, we have the computer gamer, we have the really studious person, and we have the mischievous person, all in one Let's Play. And of course, as we're going about playing in these other people's lives, we can see the characters that we were playing with around in the neighborhood doing different things. So it's gonna be really, really fun to kind of get in on that and see this through this style. I've never actually done a rotational Let's Play until right now, at least not recorded. So it'll be a really fun experience for me to get in there and kind of play with this. And I'm really curious as to how you are liking the rotational gameplay. Do you like it, or would you prefer we just kind of stuck with one person's story and saw it through? I see both sides to it, because while I really like having everyone there to be able to kind of play with the different stories, see everyone's development, see all facets of the expansion pack, I do sometimes kind of wish I could just play straight through Judy's story, because I think Judith Ward's story is going to be really cool. I think Judith Ward's story and Don Lothario's stories are the two stories that I am the most excited about. I've just got so many ideas for both of them, how they turn into the people they turn into, and I really love both of their stories. But, so if you have not been watching that Let's Play, I'll leave a link up above so you can get in on that and catch up before I post the next episode. A few other things have apparently been going on in the Sims community while I've been on a little hiatus. A bunch of aging issues, and it all, I think, ends up stemming from, they did an aging adjustment when they added the high school expansion pack. It's a little complicated, it goes into a lot, but basically it comes down to they added a few extra days, and by a few extra days, I mean like 7 extra days to the teenage lifespan on normal lifespan, which, okay, I understand that, especially if you're adding all of this extra content for teenagers. You want to have a chance to play through it all, right? Well, I guess them doing that kind of broke it a little bit, so there's a whole lot that they're trying to clean up. Not to mention, they never even announced that they were adjusting the aging. That was left completely off the patch notes in that update, which I have an issue about. I have an issue with transparency being an issue, if that makes sense. If they had done it and said they were doing it, I could understand it and it would all be okie dokie. But to not say they were doing it and just leave it completely out of the patch notes, which could have been an accident. I mean, it could have been, but to leave it completely out of the patch notes and this end up being one of the things that's breaking the game, that's not cool, Sims team. That's not cool. I think we definitely need to have a little bit more focus on these patch notes and be told what is happening to the game as it's happening. Because while part of me, I really do genuinely believe it was an accident that was left out of the patch notes. I'm sure there are so many little things that happen in those patch notes that they can't necessarily think to name them all, but there should be a way to communicate that. Aside from that, a lot of gamers are reporting a lot of problems to the point the pack is broken. I haven't really experienced many of these problems myself. I think the biggest problem I've experienced, and really doesn't necessarily have to do with the high school pack, but if your teenager is grounded in parenthood and they're grounded from leaving the house, like, they can't leave the house. Like, they can't go to school or anything. So maybe that could be adjusted. But again, like I said, that's a parenthood issue, not a high school issue. There have been some issues with people going to prom, which, to be fair, I haven't gotten to in my Let's Play yet. That's coming up. That being said, I don't feel this pack is anywhere near as broken as My Wedding Stories was. So, you know, we're kind of moving in a good direction with that. Because, I mean, My Wedding Stories, you still can't have a functional wedding. I mean, you can, but it's really rough. Like, ugh. I still stand behind my point that I feel like the Werewolf game pack was the best released game pack so far this year. It had very minimal bugs, it had very minimal drama around it, and it just seemed to be a very steady game pack. I think its one caveat is it was a supernatural pack, and that's, you know, not everyone is going to like a supernatural pack. Whereas the high school pack, I think, kind of ties more into the generational gameplay, so people are going to like that more. Understandably, I get it. I am a big fan of generations myself, but that being said, I doubt we'll ever get an actual Generations pack. I think they're going to break everything up and give it to us chunk by chunk, which I am okay with if they do it right. So like with this pack, they took one single aspect, high school, teenagers, and just kind of really broke it down into there. And there's a lot you can do with it. If they do that with all the next concurring ages, then I would be great with that. I mean, imagine having the same pack come out a year from now, but it's aged towards elementary school kids. Like, I would love that. Like, being able to build an elementary school, that would be so cool. I will say I was hoping for boarding schools with the high school pack. Obviously we didn't get that. We got something a lot better, don't get me wrong. But I do really miss the boarding schools that we had in The Sims 3. You know, for when you want to have kids, but you don't actually want to have to deal with the kids, you just, you know, need them to continue playing. That's good. But on the flip side, we can now build our own boarding schools if we wanted. Like, there is nothing saying your Sims can't sleep at the high school, so we could totally build a boarding school. In fact, the military school that I built, which I'll link above the video where I built that before the pack came out, before I had played with it any, and you know what? I think it would actually really, really work as a boarding school. I think that would be a really fun play to do at some point with a Let's Play. Like, I don't know, we're kind of 2 Let's Plays deep right now. It probably shouldn't start a new one, but back to this build. So it was really fun trying to build this high school that was based off the Werewolves, and I looked up a bunch of pictures of kind of abandoned high schools to kind of get some inspiration, and this is the picture that kind of inspired me to start this build. It's kind of the general vibe and feel that I was going for. I really, really like that it's kind of the half basement, so you can still have windows on the bottom floor. Well, the bottom floor is technically the first floor. There's no actual basement, but so you can still have the windows there, but it's partially underground. I really, really like that. I think that's a really fun thing to do. It kind of reminds me of the rental house that I'm living in now. Like, I have a half basement, so like half of it is in the ground, but then the other half is up out of the ground, so you can still see windows and stuff. I kind of want to build a house like that using the new windows in this pack. That way, you know, teens can sneak out. I think that would be a really, really fun thing to do. Gosh, there's this little blue Suburban across the street from me, and every time I take my dog out to go to the bathroom, I look at this house and I'm like, I could build that in The Sims. But, you know, blue Suburbans are kind of little Simsies thing, so I don't know, maybe I'll make it yellow or something. But I've gotten to that point now where I'm looking at these different houses in my neighborhood, and to be fair, my neighborhood has all kinds of different houses. There are traditional houses, there are modern houses, there are contemporary houses. I mean, there are just houses of all styles. It's really, really neat how there are so many different housing types in this one neighborhood. But anyway, while I'm walking my dog, I keep looking at these houses and I'm like, I could build that. So I think that's what I might do. I may start a series where it's like houses in my neighborhood and just kind of build all the different houses I see walking around the neighborhood. I don't know, it's something kind of fun. I do eventually need to build my dream house. That's something that a lot of people have built and done, and I have not done yet. That's something I need to do too. I don't know. Like I said, I like to build. I like doing speed builds. I just never really know what to say during these. So a lot of the times I feel like I'm just taking up space. I don't know. What do you like to hear during speed builds? Like, what kind of things can I talk about that you would want to know? I will say, I am very upset that we did not get a Rubik's Cube in the Sims 4 High School pack. So, like, it showed it in the trailer, and yes, we did get the Rubik's Cube. It is on an actual animation when you're playing party games with one of the Sims. Your Sims will do a little Rubik's Cube animation, but we don't actually have a Rubik's Cube in-game to play with, which I'm kind of heartbroken. Like, that could be a fun item to play with that we didn't get. Part of me feels kind of cheated because it was in the trailer, and it did technically come in the game. I'm just saying, I feel like maybe there should be more said about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm on the minority here. Of course, then again, I kind of feel like I'm in the minority. I really prefer gameplay over any other facet in The Sims 4. I prefer it over building and create a sim. I'm a very gameplay focused person, and I kind of feel like that's almost kind of a overdrawn by the building at this point, which, don't get me wrong, I do like building. As you can see, I'm building this high school. I do like building, but I'd much rather sit down and play for an hour than build for 6 hours. I don't know. Maybe in the future we'll get our Rubik's Cube. There were 2 kit leaks also, by the way. It looks like our next 2 kits might, and this is not confirmed, but might be something to do with kids' clothing for Cass and a desert build for the build buy, which leads me to speculate. And again, this is just speculation. If we are getting a desert kit. I am wondering if maybe, just maybe, we will be getting kind of like an Old West kind of kit where we get horses again, like a horse ranch kit, because I know so many people were so upset that we didn't have horses when we got Cottage Living. And they did consider horses at Cottage Living. They just decided that it would take too much gameplay for it and not have enough focus on the rest of it. So it does make me wonder if we will be getting a pack with horses. I feel like that would be a really, really fun thing. And I can see it being set in like the Old West or something like that. I also really kind of deep down feel like we might at some point get an African game pack. I don't know, maybe that's just me wishing. Maybe that's just hopeful wishing, but I would just really love to see an African game pack. Maybe with like hotels or resorts or something like that. But I think that would be really cool. As for the kits, I really don't care either way about them. I mean, I'll do a video on them when they come out, you know, and look at them and see what they're like, but it'll be that one video and then done and over with. As long as we don't get, you know, months of kits upon kits upon kits upon kits again, I'm okay with their existence. I'm just not happy with their existence. Especially since it seems like they're never gonna do any gameplay kits again, and that hurts me. That was the one thing I was excited about with kits was gameplay features, and nope. And I understand, Bust the Dust came out and it was a little rough. I understand, but like, when you mess up, you pick yourself up and dust back off. You don't just give up on everything. Don't give up on the gameplay kits, Sims 4, come on. But I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? In the comments below, let me know. Do you want to see gameplay kits again, or are you happy with the cast and build by kits? I don't know. Maybe I'm just in the minority with that. But I think this video is starting to come to a close. I will see everyone when we do our next episode in the Let's Play. Bye!